So let's get to the foundation of things. Let's get to the basic foundation. The temple of inner peace and prosperity. This is a three-pronged ministry. We deal with our person. We deal with ourselves. Nobody's perfect. A lot of you out there that think you're perfect, bless you. You know what I'm saying? Bless you. And if you think you're perfect, help somebody else to be perfect. We want to know your secret, you know. But it's a being perfect. Nobody's asking you to be perfect. Just be productive. Just have a moral compass, a conscience. Understand the stages of growth that we have to go through. You know, we're born into primal man. Primal. And I heard one individual say that I was born with everything that I need. Your spiritual being, your fleshly being, that's right, but you got to nourish it, you got to take care of it, you got to develop it. Because you go from your that primal individual. And in Egypt, when the lion, the sphinx, with the head of a man and the body of a lion, that's depicting, is that we must overcome our lower beastly nature. See, in our communities, in our schools, in our homes, too many of them, we're still at the primal stage. We're dealing with our lower beastly nature, and we're not evolving. And that's why the school system is not designed to educate you beyond that beastly nature. Only the brightest minds will float through that discipline themselves. They got that strength. You can tell those children because they come ready. They come prepared to learn, right? They may act up a little bit, but those are the kids that are getting A's and B's, right? But they're few and far between because the other kids, a lot of peer pressure to destroy them apart. But then these kids, unstructured, undisciplined, quit high school, drop out, figure they want to be a rapper. Oh, this rapper dropped out of school, so they didn't have to go to school. Or I'll be successful too. And those are the kids that end up in society raising other kids that don't have a clue. It becomes a generational curse. How do you think they load them prisons up with that many millions of people? We'll talk about economics and all that kind of stuff. Poor decision making. We'll do that later. But the bottom line is you have to eat. If you have children, you definitely go, and most men will just leave so they don't have to listen to that or get locked up because somebody else can take care of them. But it comes with the nurture. In the situation, we got serious holes in our financial buckets, so we got to heal them. We got to create new buckets. We send more than one. With the recession, it might be a little less right now, but we send $1.3 trillion out of our communities each and every year. That means that after our bills are paid off, we go spend it. We giving everybody else our money. A lot of the bills don't get paid off. I hear some people, use their bill money to consume, overconsume. Credit scores, a measure of debt, of poverty, how well you manage your poverty. That's funny. We don't talk about wealth creation index. How do you create wealth? Good credit is good, but you leverage that. You get good credit, so you charge less on the money that you have to borrow initially to invest in your income-producing venture. There's so much we can talk about. But we used to, talk that. But when we have to put some work in, that's when, and when the rubber has to meet the road, you have to do something, then that's when we fall apart. Because we haven't been disciplined in the early stages of how to slow down and work. You've been conditioned into working for others. Or your mind is dark. a dark mind, right? So I remember I have this, see if we can get this thing to work here. So, the whole thing, when it comes to the indoctrination and condition of our community, is that they want to keep the mind dark. The mind has to be kept dark. And you keep the mind dark with no formal education and an indoctrination, then you start believing in Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and somebody's going to fly from the sky and save you. And I know that's like a traumatic thing I just said. You mean there's no Santa Claus? There's no Easter Bunny? Nobody's going to come and rapture me and save me? You better rapture and save yourself, because that's the judgment, how well you have done. If you were God, which you are small g gods, right? And first of all, we've given away that authority. So we don't, you tell your parents, I'm a God. She'll, oh no, oh, it's a war then, it's only cracking. But ye are gods. The scriptures even tell you gods. And Jesus, and the scripture says that you will do even greater things than me. But yet you have taken that authority and abdicated it and given it to somebody else. That's why we're in the condition that we're in today. Because we've turned our face from God. We talk about it, but we don't be about it. And the whole objective is to keep your mind dark. They do that for entertainment. Now look at Facebook, most of that, happy people. But you look behind the scenes, it's crazy. You have to be better people. Not just on the outside, but on the inside as well. Loving people. Got brothers and sisters and family members that don't talk to each other over nonsense. We gossiping. Remember one time I was walking down, between the courthouses and stuff. And you listen to, and they do the development and so forth like that. I walked past one group of men. They were talking about the business venture that they were working on didn't work out, so they had to go file bankruptcy and stuff like that. Well, hey, sometimes it got hidden from different, a lot of ingredients come into success. Sometimes it don't work the first time. You got to retool. And I walked down further, some individuals looking at a building where it's being renovated. So, and talking to the guy of when it's going to be done so they can have their grand opening. Then I walk past a group of people of our own, and they're gossiping, talking about somebody, putting somebody down. Tell them how you're going to do this to this person, do that to that person. We're like in a state of confusion. We're not talking about productive things. We're creation. We're creators. So they've really done a job on us. But the whole objective, and I noticed the video and stuff make it seem like I'm not looking. I'm looking directly at it. I get it better, later on. But it's the whole objective to keep your mind dark and keep us fighting and bickering among each other. One gentleman, white gentleman, was looking at some different things. He said, hey, we ain't got to worry about black people no more. They're in check. They're in self-check mode. Self-check. They don't understand. They're in self-check. Another white gentleman said, listen, black people are public enemy number one. Not because they're black or the violence thing. They're public enemy number one because if they ever wake up and realize their economic power and come together as a people, they'll change the face of this whole nation. Change the whole landscape. And we just talking about individuals. Homeless rate, that's ridiculous. And they're coming in by the hordes. But we have to get to the basics. You have to have an educational system in your own home. I remember when my kids would go to school, they come back with this, because they would go to these highfalutin schools and private schools, and they come home with this nonsense. I have to wait a minute. Let's set this straight. I'm gonna tell you, I understand what's on your test, but let's break this down. Remember my son who just started reading, he would come home every time he read a new book. Oh, everything, the whole world was about that book. I have to break it down and say, son, this is just the beginning of knowledge, brother. You have to put that in perspective with everything else that you're going to learn. Let's massage it and shape it. This parent's job, you're the potter. The children are the clay. And a little bump here, you smooth it out. Deal with it. Make them, because that's the final masterpiece, you should be proud of it. You should be proud of it. And it starts, and I've come across students. I've been doing some substitute teaching lately so I can make a transition more out in the courtroom into this program that I'm doing now because I'm so passionate about it. When you look at my biography, look at my background, and I believe I'm well qualified for this. So, it's at the basic middle school level. They come in from elementary school. A lot of them can write, they can read, they're well articulate. When they at elementary school, when they get to be 12 years old, they should be solid. Because them kids are smart. They just smart in the wrong things. They're smart. And people condemn education, this and that. Listen, they cannot create the person. They can try to mold them and develop them. But it's your job, and it's that child's job to become who they're going to be. But if they have poor habits in the beginning, those poor habits are going to follow them. It's the rare child that can blow beyond that. A lot of them wait until they're 30, 40 years old, 50 years old, and all of a sudden they want to, with no foundation. But they've been in man, they've been in women, and they haven't done anything to qualify themselves for that. But the main thing is to make sure that our new generation of children are solid. Whether you, the parent, are solid or not, it doesn't matter. Don't block them. Get out of their way. Encourage them. As I always said, if you have 4 children, and you say, well, I wasn't that good at math. But if you have 4 children, guess what? You should have taken math 4 times. And you have to sit down with your child. You got a child. Give them a spelling test at that grade level. Get a book. If you got many children, get the same book. I used to have the same book, and we just sit around and read and stuff. The neighbors' kids, too. I check them later on. They're doing wonderful because they know how to read and write. You know how to read and write, you can figure out the rest. But reading is fundamental. So make sure that your child can read. Give them a reading test at that grade level. Hey, Lee, what's up, man? Good to see you, bro. Make sure that your child can read. Because if you can't read, it's over. Get the book. Take some time. And we want to start on Fridays, a Sabbath that'll allow us to regroup as a family. So that way we can slow down. Make sure your kids on task. Make sure they can function. Because I tell you, our children they're not coming ready.